I reckon my favourite show of 2007, right, was this thing called Charlie Broker's Screenwipes, yeah? And it had this theme tune, right? It went like do 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 do. Do 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 do.
Hello, I'm Charlie Brooker and you're watching a festive Screenwipe special review of the year type thing. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure exactly what it is, but it's only half an hour, so bear with us.
2007 will be remembered for many things: floods, slapstick terror attacks and the resignation of Tony Blair.
It was a significant year for British television too, but only for all the wrong reasons. Still, never mind the overall summary. Let's start by going back, way back into time, to an age when all was well, to a faraway land called January.
As January dawned, the people of Britain were looking forward to another cracking year of TV superbitude. The lovable This Life gang returned in. This Life plus 10. Brilliant! Except it wasn't, it was just glum.
A staged reunion on camera. No one ever comes out of these things unscathed.
So far, it was business as usual in Teleland. The phone line money was still rolling in, ratings were reasonable, runners were still young and pretty and easy to exploit, and everyone was looking forward to the first big guilty pleasure of the year, the hilarious knockabout Celebrity Big Brother.
Oh, brilliant, Celebrity Big Brother. This is always good for a laugh.
You're a normal housemate like everybody else. Everybody else. And you need to come to terms with that and don't lie.
In broadcasting terms, this was a bit like going to a birthday party, then offending everyone by nonchalantly taking a shit in the corner and failing to apologise when everybody got understandably upset. In other words, it was an almighty balls up.
TV never quite recovered from the shock and spent the rest of 2007 staggering around in a kind of post-traumatic haze, stepping in one bear trap after another.
As for the celebrities themselves, Joe O'Meara and Jade Goody became persona non grata, while by the end of the year, Danielle Lloyd, who'd arguably made the worst comments of all...
I think she should fuck off home.
was rehabilitated to the point where she could be publicly exonerated on a gaudy chat show.
I have to ask, are you a racist? No, certainly not. Right, and have you got any black friends? I've got plenty.
She's right, you know, I've seen the photos.
January also saw the end of an era.
Earlier on this year, right, it was like the last grandstand on BBC. I was like, no, not the last grandstand. It was literally this woman standing in front of the bowls, literally standing there, and literally said, it's the last grandstand.
And that really is it. That was grandstand.
I was like, no! I couldn't believe it. I was gutted. Hang on. Mate, you rapist!
In February, things got worse for telly as a string of phone-in scandals knocked bland TV off its axis.
How you doing? Hello, I can't believe I got through after all this time. I think I've been trying for about 3 years, so need the money to pay my phone bill.
This was just the tip of the iceberg. It soon turned out your dear old friend Telly had been fleecing viewers left, right and centre, a bit like somebody running a dodgy coconut shy where all the coconuts are nailed down so you can't knock them over, and simply holding the ball is charged at 50p a minute.
Still, if British phone quizzes are insulting and ghastly, the Swedish ones are downright sickening.
Turn.
Say hello to March and an all-new version of the BBC's flagship reality show Castaway, which brought all the fun and excitement of hut-based bickering into the living rooms of about 18 viewers.
In case you can't remember what the winner looked like, here he is.
Comic Relief, yeah, 2007. Oh, it was brilliant, wasn't it? Blair, eh? Oh, Blair. He was so good in it.
It's like butlins, but you don't get wet.
Lauren?
Yeah.
Am I bothered? I mean, when he did that, you just totally forgot about the war and, like, all those people that were killed and, like, those kids with their arms blown off and everything.
Look at my face.
Right, what are you doing?
Is my face bothered?
He wasn't bothered. He was brilliant.
The Apprentice moved from BBC Two to BBC One, bringing terrifying Ice Maiden Katie Hopkins, played here by the spitting image puppet of the Queen, and furious bullshitter Trey Azam to public attention. Sadly, neither of them won, and the final boiled down to a toss-up between leathery but dependable Christina and dewy-eyed puppy boy Simon.
Simon, you're hired.
Yes!
Thank you, Sam. Thank you so much.
He still works at Amstrad, actually, bringing the drinks and biscuits. Tea, tray, Sir Alan, sugar. Throughout April, the third series of Doctor Who entertained the nation, as did new assistant Martha Jones.
One episode in particular, Blink, was one of the most skillfully crafted pieces of populist drama of the past decade, not to mention downright terrifying. Oh, God.
It's locked!
Throughout the year, a lot of old shows ended, like Cuddly Parkinson here, but there weren't many new shows to replace them.
Instead, there were a lot of sequels, spin-offs and, above all, talent contests.
One of the first was Just the Two of Us, a celebrity duet show judged by Cueball Nelson, Jerry Springer, Thingy McSpoo and the dwarf off Fantasy Island. Just to underline how useless the celebrity contestants were, they were each paired with a professional singer, making every performance an excruciating blend of sweet and sour. For instance, gallivanting Strictly Come Dancing cockend Brendan Cole was paired with soul legend Beverly Knight, resulting in this. Beverly can sing, while Brendan can f*** off. Some of the acts were so appalling they accidentally became good, like Jim Branning's duet with Jocelyn Brown, in which he sounded like a man trying to pick a fight with music itself.
Everybody look at me! I come in the door and start screaming!
Eventual winner Hannah Waterman, seen here paired with Marty Pellow, soon developed the look of someone who earnestly believes she can hammer out a tune, as opposed to someone who sounds like an out-of-tune hammer.
Still we're from my window. Still we're from my back door too.
Oh.
Stuart said, you know, rock should make you sweat, man, and yeah, it's going on.
Good job she only lifted her arm. One of the oddest talent contests was the BBC's World's Greatest Elvis, which opened with 30 Elvi singing as a choir, making the whole thing look more like a stark warning about the dangers of human cloning than a song and dance show. My favourite was the Japanese Elvis, who slavishly copied every aspect of the King's Act apart from his ability to pronounce consonants. Stranger still was ITV's Baby Ballroom, a sort of mini-pops for the noughties in which a selection of kids from a horrifying alternative future strutted their undersized stuff on the dance floor. Judging proceedings were Pepe Le Pew, Ronald McDonald and a haunted ventriloquist's dummy.
You know, best of luck, because that's what you're winning, so...
Yeah, so you might as well not bother. But they did anyway, twirling and twirling and twirling and twirling. Well, they might as well have waited until they fell asleep and stuck them on a f***ing turntable so they could simply revolve to the delight of the imbecile audience who just applauded them no matter what they did. Obviously, one couple were more fantastic than the rest and won a sarcastically oversized trophy.
Anything you'd like to say to the judges?
Yeah, how about giving us a hand with the whopping great chunk of f***ing Skylab you've just awarded us, you mad bastards. Throughout the year, the BBC and ITV played an absurd game of talent show copycat with each other, which meant Saturday nights became something of a pissing contest, although a pissing contest might have been entertaining. For instance, early in the year, the Beeb unveiled When Will I Be Famous, a transparent attempt to upstage ITV with brilliant spectacles like this. This act was originally accompanied by the sound of 100,000 dads going a bit quiet. Anyway, that shit was obliterated in the ratings by ITV's Britain's Got Talent, the sort of Care in the Community version of the X Factor. It was probably the most alarming example of mass public hysteria of the 21st century so far. I mean, 9 million people tuned in to see this. A howling snaggletooth coelacanth eventually emerged victorious, but not before grandmas everywhere had their faltering, leathery hearts set aflutter by a 6-year-old whose breath was so bad it made Amanda Holden's eyes water from several metres away. You know, cynicism aside, she actually was really quite heartwarming, and since it's Christmas, let's just take a few moments to hear from her, shall we? Let's not. No sooner had those wonders ceased than the BBC and ITV went head-to-head again, this time with an extended musical casting session. In the Beebs Corner, Any Dream Will Do, a sort of Christian rock festival crossed with a camp video game. And on ITV, Grease is the Word, a doomed attempt to replace John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John with a couple of gurgling Argos assistants. As the year wore on, the channels brought out their biggest hitters. For the BBC, that means the bafflingly popular celebrity jig fest Strictly Come Dancing. The dancing all seems fairly monotonous to me, but I guess it's beside the point, because Strictly's main appeal comes in gauging the sexual chemistry between each pair and thinking, I wonder if they've, you know, maybe, and he's on her. Now, you don't find yourself wondering if the contestants are shagging each other when you watch The X Factor. Well, except when these two are on. Yes, same difference, the pop equivalent of two twinkle-eyed cult members trying to recruit you in time for the rapture. The standout X Factor act was, of course, Rydian Roberts, who stomped around the stage as though playing the lead in a gay remake of The Terminator, howling notes like an early warning system. Next year you can look forward to Celebrity Origami Wars, Soapstar Schindler's List, Britain's Greatest Weatherman and Strictly Come Faces, in which a bunch of blokes have to pull off and go, ugh. May brought the return of Big Brother. Fortunately, after all the hullabaloo in January, this time round there was no racism whatsoever for about 5 minutes.
You're pushing it out, you it's got
This time round the problem was swiftly dealt with and the series carried on. And on, and on, longer than ever in fact, and it featured so many housemates that for the first time in BB history, some of them faded into obscurity while they were still on the show. In case you've forgotten, the full roster of housemates consisted of Posh Spice, Millie Tant, Charlie Williams, Mrs Mangle, Jean Wilder, a Greek dormouse, the Witch off Chorlton and the Wheelies, Matt Lucas, Cleopatra, 2 copies of Barely Legal, a cartoon cat, a haircut, a lipless Disney prince, Kate Thornton, Paris Hilton, Liam, her, that, Mark Lawson, Mr Muscle and Grace Jones, who won! Also in May, Panorama reporter John Sweeney tackled the shadowy world of Scientology by investigating and shouting at it.
You were not there! You did not hear or record all the interview! Do you understand?
Brainwashing.
What a mad cult.
June is often a quiet month in TV land, not quite as quiet as August, when every commissioning pisses off to a gîte in the south of France for a couple of weeks to read novels and think about kitchens until the entire TV industry grinds to a halt, but still pretty quiet.
So let's skip June and listen to Grace Dent talking about the year in soaps.
The question that I've been asking in EastEnders this year is just what the hell has happened to Stacey Slater?
Keep smiling, nearly there.
The big ongoing story has been the sordid, filthy affair between Max Branning and his daughter-in-law to be. At one point, she just seemed to be this real rough diamond, and now she's this demented, coal-eyed slag bag who's just determined to absolutely wreck Max Branning's life just through the power of her vag alone.
Do you still give you that knot in the pit of your stomach?
You can get that from eating too many raisins.
I do have a bit of sympathy for Max because I do feel like he has this hard life and he's living with a lot of really hormonal women. I'm home! I think that's why he's just got that really sad look. I think that's why his hair all fell out. I think that's maybe why he's always got that face like he's never ever got to watch Top Gear right through to the power lap round. He's just a really, really unhappy man. Phil Mitchell was back on the square this year.
He's always got the ump. Quite sexy, really.
Brilliantly, he ended up back on the drink. Now, sober Phil is a big enough pain in the arse, but then you've got fun time Friday night alcoholic Phil.
Mate.
With his big red face and his like lax acknowledgement of body space, just kind of like pivoting around the pub and mistaking the Queen Vic bar for a urinal and titting up barmaids.
It's a lot of Scotch, really. Come on, hurry up, I think all day.
You can't hate him for it, because if I lived with Peggy, I would need a drink too.
Well, go on then, if you're going to.
It's been a really good year for Minty.
Let's get chicken.
Minty, to me, is a special executive class of soap star who I actually love with all of my heart and I don't want to think that they're actors. I just want to think that when Minty finishes at the studios, he just goes home and he's Minty again. This year, he had an affair with Gary's mum. If they got together, Minty would be Gary's stepdad. This year, David Platt set himself up as Coronation Street's very own Antichrist. Early on in the year, he was blackmailing Tracy Barlow for sex. He was just very, very, very sexually frustrated. Not that that's an excuse. Most late teenage boys, when they're sexually frustrated, they just retire to their bedroom, surrounded by crusty socks and kind of well-rustled pictures of Lindsay Dahl Mackenzie. They don't have to be like the architect of terribleness, so I can't excuse him for that.